I was young. I did not speak any English. I did not have any skill. And I did not have any money. And all of a sudden, we're not top spots anymore. And then the next day, we're not on the first page. And the second day, we're not on the second page. And then we're not on the fifth and not on the 10th. And long story short, we lost 76% of our traffic. You go feeling, oh my God, I'm absolutely the best in the world, to, oh my God, I'm a complete fake and I have no idea what I'm doing. All that happens within 30 seconds.
Yeah.
I'm better off not buying anything than buying something that's subpar. Because then it becomes a problem all the time.
Yes.
Right? And when I actually do something, I do it the same way. I either get it done right or I don't do it at all. I'm Vladimir Gendelman. I started a company called Company Folders in 2003.
Yeah.
And 18 years later, it became an overnight success.
This episode is brought to you by Venture Mastery, a platform bringing you the best talent from the entrepreneurial world. The platform which connects successful entrepreneurs to other business owners aiming to achieve success. If you've ever wanted to get more leads, more customers, and more revenue, if you ever wondered what successful business owners do differently, what strategies do they follow? How do they apply and execute? If you ever wondered how other entrepreneurs manage to scale their businesses, then you're in the right place. Our mission is to become one of the best educational resources for entrepreneurs who have tried and failed continuously. Anyone can build a business, but only 1% can master it, grow, scale, and prosper. We help you get into that 1% with proven methods used by seven-figure entrepreneurs from all around the world. We will cover all aspects of running a business successfully from a practical standpoint, covering everything you need to know about money and finance, leadership, sales, marketing, wealth management, mindset, and how to get you motivated day by day. So if you'd like to find out more about our programs, keep up to date with our upcoming online courses and one-to-one interviews, please follow us on either Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, or other social media platforms of your choice at Venture Mastery, or check us out online at www.venturemastery.co.
Okay, thanks for accepting my invitation. The reason I wanted to interview is I'm working on my new project, this Venture Mastery. And you are a good candidate as someone who built successfully a business of his own as an immigrant in the United States. And what I'm curious about is your journey from getting to the US, as I understand, with $500 in your pocket.
476 or 7.
Okay, we don't need to be that precise. And you
$20 made a lot of difference back then.
Yeah. Okay. And you managed to build up quite a successful company, the Company Folders, which is in the B2B industry. And you managed to grow it from 0 to over, I noted down, 10 million printed folders, over 10 million printed folders.
It's much more now. That
more
numbers as of like probably 4 years ago.
And over 5,000 customers.
Yeah.
And what I'm curious about your journey is, how did you get to this level from, especially as an immigrant, coming from Ukraine or Russia, whatever, to the United States? This is important because many young people think that entrepreneurship or success is like something like a line like this. But I think that you had the loops of your own, I suppose. So can you eventually tell shortly about your story? Then we can elaborate on parts which we will find that we can talk about in more details.
Of course. Of course.
Okay.
So you're more interested in, it sounds like, the mistakes and what I learned from them.
Yes, something like that.
Yeah.
Your failures, because behind
I probably had more than anybody else.
yeah, yeah, maybe. But anyway, success is about that. Behind success, there are many failures, and that's what I'm curious about. How did you manage to overcome these failures or pitfalls or whatever?
Yeah. Well, hello. Thank you for having me on your show. I'm Vladimir Gendelman. I started a company called Company Folders in 2003,
Yeah.
and 18 years later, it became an overnight success. Where
Yeah.
in reality, there was a lot of failures, there was a lot of successes, there was a lot of hard work, easy work, everything really.
Yeah.
But I came to America from Soviet Union.
Yeah.
almost 31 years ago. It was
31
May
years.
15, 1990. I was young. I did not speak any English. I did not have any skill. And I did not have any money.
You had 400 and something like that.
We had $476 for the three of us, meaning my parents and myself. And we had to figure it out. So
Yeah.
we just had all sorts of odd jobs. I remember I had a job where I was making, my first job, I was making $3 and I think 25 cents per hour.
Yeah.
Which was not much at all, obviously. But it was a job and I was grateful for that. And then gradually, you find a better job and a better job and a better job. And then eventually I started my own computer company.
Yeah.
Computer repair and networking. And that I started in 99 with a friend.
Yeah.
And in 2002,
Yeah.
in 2002, my friend went to law school.
Law school. Yeah.
And he couldn't spend any more time with computers, so I kind of was left by myself. I went on my own. And that was more of a side gig, some pocket money, like work on the weekend. And as I was doing it, probably 4 or so months after we separated, one of my clients asked me to help him find really nice company folders.
Oh.
And I said, of course, but I had no idea what company folders were. So I called people, I asked questions, I figured it out, and I started working on finding good company folders for the guy. And to my surprise, there really wasn't much available.
Yeah.
In a sense of, something that really stands out, variety and all those things. And it brought a lot of memories about Soviet Union, because in Soviet Union, there was no competition because everything was government owned.
Yeah.
And therefore there was no variety because
Yeah.
government didn't have to compete with itself, right?
Yeah.
So if you have silverware, there might be 2 or 3 kinds, and everywhere you go, people have the same silverware.
I know.
Wallpaper, furniture, clothing, everything. You
Yeah.
go to the store, there is a cheese. You
Yeah.
go to the store, there is a sausage.
Yeah.
We had white bread and black bread, right?
Yeah.
And then I came to America, and there are dozens of cheeses, all sorts of cold cuts. There are breads that it's really hard to tell the difference between them, but there are varieties, right? I'm not even talking about silverware and wallpapers and houses and everything else. So by then, I've been living this life of abundance from the variety
It was shocking for you.
perspective. And all of a sudden, I come across a product that doesn't really have that.
Yeah.
And I think back about Soviet Union, and of course I'm thinking to myself, well, somebody got to fix that, right? And as I'm thinking that, I'm like, well, who is that somebody? If I'm the one who recognized it, why would I not be the one fixing the problem?
Yeah.
And I started working on that. It was, I think, November 2003. And because I didn't know any better, I called the company folders, because that's how the customer referred to it.
Yeah.
He said,
Yeah.
find me company folders. So I figured company folders is the best name.
Yeah.
The .com was available, so I did that, and I knew how to program a little bit. So I started. I built a website and put the products there. Then I started, marketing it all myself, and then gradually things started to work. And then I started, I found somebody to market. I found somebody to make a better website, and so that I can concentrate more on the product and everything else. And little by little, it's been growing. And then since you want to know big failures, so
yeah, but before continuing, I'm curious, how did you get your very, very first client with company folders? If you remember,
very
that
first client was a friend.
was a friend. Okay.
So when I started doing this, I obviously started talking about it.
Okay.
And a friend of mine, I have a close friend, he owns a janitorial company.
Yeah.
And he was the first one to come through.
Yeah.
And I did his job. But then from there, people started coming in from the internet.
Yeah.
And then it started growing, right? Because somehow we ended up on the first page of Google.
Oh, yeah.
And that helped quite a bit, as you can imagine.
At that time, it was much easier, and you were possessing the best domain name in terms of the phrases.
Correct.
Searching for. Nowadays, it's not that easy, but yeah.
And then when it started working, right, and I shared a lot in forums and discussion boards at the time. And when it started working, I actually hired a company out of maybe Belarus or Russia to do search engine optimization.
Yeah.
And as I found out later, they did a lot of unethical
at that time. Look,
at least in the eyes of Google, right?
Yeah.
And in year 2012, in March 23rd, I think it was.
Yeah.
We received a message from Google called unnatural link warning.
Yeah.
And they say that, so basically your links are not natural. You're kind of gaming the system. And we're not gonna, I don't remember exactly what happened, but
you got penalized. You got penalized by Google.
Yes.
I worked in SEO almost 10 years.
So you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So at the time, we rank for most of our keywords like top spots.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, we're not top spots anymore. And then the next day, we're not on the first page. And the second day, we're not on the second page. And then we're not on the fifth and not on the 10th. And long story short, it was 76% of our traffic.
Yes.
I didn't know what to do with myself. I have company, I have employees, I have family. And all of a sudden, everything is falling apart.
Yeah.
I had a lot of sleepless nights. I couldn't quite discuss it with my wife because I didn't want her to worry.
Yeah.
So I always had to be like, oh yeah, not a big deal. And, we're working through this and through that. But deep down inside, I really had no clue what's going on and how it's going to work out. at the time, my daughter was little, and I used to take her to swimming classes. And after swimming classes, we would go to the bookstore and we would read books. And then we would have sushi, and then I'll take her for a little dessert. So all of a sudden, I couldn't do that anymore because really no money, like nothing. Like I have to put out more than I'm bringing in. It was devastating, but I was extremely fortunate. I was extremely fortunate that I have an amazing team. And we all put our heads together and we figured out a plan and we started working the plan.
Yeah.
Because at first I didn't want any negative feelings from Google as number one. And number two, we also realized that, relying on Google is not going to get us anywhere.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because today it's one thing, tomorrow it's going to be something else. So we started pursuing social media.
Yeah.
We started a blog. We started a design gallery. I started, posting on the blog, talking about different things that our audience would be interested in. That got really, really popular because we shared it on Facebook and Pinterest and Twitter and LinkedIn. So we got good following from there. And little by little, we started rebuilding our clientele. Oh, another thing that really helped us was that people that we worked with prior to that, most of them kept on ordering folders from us.
Yeah.
We established a program where we would call them, we would remind them.
That's what I wanted to ask, that
it
was a good strategy that you started to reach out for your customers who might buy once again as a returning customers.
Correct. And with folders, it's a little bit more challenging because people don't use them that much, right? So people usually order folders and they might not need to reorder for like a year.
Yeah.
But nevertheless, by then we were in business for about 9 years. So we had a good build-up, right? So people kept on reordering, so that kept us afloat. And then we started getting new customers. And then we said, forget about Google, who cares, right? Because we're doing other things. And somehow, and then we started redoing our website, just so it's better for people. It's more user-friendly, better conversion. And for whatever reason, Google's at some point started ranking us again. So now we picked up that traffic as extra on top of it.
I checked your website's traffic with a tool just half an hour ago, and it looks like over 70% of your traffic comes organically.
Oh,
is that correct? You know it better.
That's great. So and so it all started to work. It took about to completely rebuild, and I'm talking about strictly from financial perspective, right? Where I, to the point where I gotten, we didn't get all the way up, but to the point where I was able to relax a little bit, and tell myself like this thing is working, we'll be fine. It took about a year and a half. So it took, so this was March 2012. It took until June 2013. For me to say, it will be fine. But that whole year and whatever, 3 months, 4 months, that was a very scary time.
Quite exciting, these kind of times when you build something out or build something up, and suddenly you lose everything, or at least you feel like you are losing everything. And that's what makes a successful entrepreneur to get on his feet in these kind of situations. And that's because there is a saying that if you are an entrepreneur, you are getting punches every day in your face. And
you do. And you go feeling, oh my God, I'm absolutely the best in the world, to, oh my God, I'm a complete fake and I have no idea what I'm doing. All that happens within 30 seconds. So And it happens all the time.
I went through similar situations so many times. So, and I'm still building. I'm building right now a new project. And this is painstaking. This is not easy. I'm only at the beginning, and I believe that I can make it. I can build it, but it won't happen if I'm not working on it day by day. Despite that, I'm working on other projects as well. But in order to build up something else, you need to find the time and the energy to work on it.
That's right.
Yeah,
it's all about consistency.
Yeah,
it's
consistency.
About constant progress.
I found somewhere a quote which originates from you. As I read, it says, "We are not rich enough to buy cheap things."
Remember, well, it doesn't originate from me. It originated from my grandfather.
Your grandfather.
And my mother.
And your mother.
They've been telling me this my whole life.
Yeah.
We're not rich enough to buy cheap things. And basically what that means is, if you're doing something or buying something,
yeah,
you do it right.
Yeah.
You don't do it cheaply, because when you do it cheaply, you have to keep on replacing things.
Yeah.
Right? If you do things not very proper, you keep on have to redo them all the time.
Yeah.
So from day one, when I started the company, that's just part of my life, right? Like I would not, I'm better off not buying anything than buying something that's subpar, because then it becomes a problem all the time.
Yes.
Right. And when I actually do something, I do it the same way. I either get it done right or I don't do it at all.
Yeah.
So with the company, it was the same way. Like it was never, quality is never compromised, not even a little bit, because it will come back and bite you in the butt. Same thing goes for, buying supplies, buying everything.
Yeah.
Like it always has to be high quality, because I forgot who said that. It was either Chanel or Versace or Gucci. They said that it's much easier to explain price once than apologize for poor quality for the rest of your life.
Yes, that's correct. From another perspective, it's cheap actually means more expensive in the long run, because cheap will break, or will.
That's right.
Will have some failure very early. Then you might buy another one cheaply until you will be taught the lesson that cheap will never work in the long run. So it can be whatever, this microphone or whatever. If it's a cheap one, it will break on day or very early.
Yep. Yeah. Exactly.
Very, very interesting and useful thoughts we exchange now. Have a wonderful night or day or whatever it is now at your place, and see you soon.
Thank you, Phil. Have a wonderful night. I know it's later for you, and lots of luck, and let's keep in touch.
Okay.
Awesome.
Bye. Bye.
This episode was brought to you by Venture Mastery, one of the leading educational platforms for entrepreneurs aiming to grow and scale their businesses. Thanks for tuning in with me, your host, Phil Amery. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, where we'll get you updated with our upcoming courses, one-to-one interviews, and latest entrepreneurial success stories from around the world. I'd be honored to hear your thoughts and feedback, so please leave your comments and help us in producing even more engaging and valuable content for our next episodes. Thanks for joining us.